We are in the midst of a changing of the guards, spiritually, politically, and economically. And as Black Americans, our sense of stability has never felt more fragile. The old systems are collapsing, the leaders are falling, and the question now is who will rise in their place? But we don't have to start from scratch. We already have blueprints. We already have gods, not the kind that sit in the sky, but the kind that walked our streets. They stood on podiums. They fed our people. They died for our freedom. They've just been buried under textbooks, under government holidays, under centuries of whitewashed memory. We don't need more deities. We need to resurrect the ones born from our own blood. So what does that actually mean? Who are the gods of our own blood? I'm talking about community ancestors. Not just your bloodline, but those who shaped our collective spirit. To me, a community ancestor is someone whose life and contributions shaped the culture of a people, especially Black Americans. The healers, the organizers, the teachers, the freedom fighters, the artists who didn't just create but transform the collective mind. These are not just historical figures, they are spiritual forces now, and they deserve to be remembered as such. And whether we realize it or not, America already practices this. They just do it in plain sight. President's Day, the 4th of July, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, these are all national rituals of ancestor veneration. The dollar bill is an altar, the street signs are offering statues and memorials. That's how they deify their dead. But what about ours? Why do we only get Black History Month, the shortest month of the year, to remember what shaped us? Why are we taught to see our ancestors as history instead of living power? I'm not just talking. This is very, very real for me and a deep part of my philosophy. I used to be very afraid of taking up space, and I had like this irrational fear that if I become too powerful, too outspoken, too visible, too headstrong, too radical, that I would be harmed. And then, of course, as a prophetic dreamer, I encountered Malcolm X. Not on paper or a documentary, not his book, but literally in spirit. And his presence was very strong, very undeniable. And over time, the message became louder and louder. Venerate me, honor me. We have so much more in common than you think. And through deeper spiritual work, shadow work, past life regressions, and the like, I came to understand that our souls had history, that the fear I carried in this life wasn't irrational. It was very much ancestral, or maybe even my own once before. Malcolm X was assassinated after leaving a religious institution he once gave everything to. He stood in his truth and died for it. I too have left institutions. I've seen what power can do, and I felt the weight of choosing truth over belonging. This is what makes veneration so important to me. Not just to remember, but to embody, continuing the work, giving their legacy a body again through mine. So what does it really mean to make someone a god? I mean, really. When I say a deity, I don't mean some unreachable perfect being. A deity is simply a force of nature that has been personified, given story, culture, image, and meaning. We see this across all cultures: Christianity, Ifa, Hinduism, etc. They are all reflections of human energy amplified and remembered. So why not our people? What's the difference between Shango and Huey Newton? What's the difference between Azili Dantor and Harriet Tubman? These were forces of fire, protectors, liberators, forces of devotion, of war, of truth. We don't need to wait for permission to build our pantheon. We just need to choose who we will devote ourselves to, who we will call on for strength, clarity, and direction. Veneration is how we keep their spirit alive, saying their name, putting their picture up, leaving coffee or fruit on their altar, reading their words, living their mission, invoking their essence when we need it the most. When I ask myself, what would Malcolm do? I'm not just honoring him, I'm channeling him. I'm activating the code that already lives in my DNA. And of course, the stars always speak. Astrologically, it's no coincidence that this is happening now. Saturn is back in Pisces, the same sign it was in when the civil rights era ended. We're watching old structures dissolve, illusions crack, the veils are thin, and once again, the burden falls on us to build what comes next as Saturn enters Aries. Pluto, of course, is in Aquarius. The people have power again, but with that power comes responsibility. It's not about rebellion, but remembrance, strategy, and devotion. We're being asked to reclaim our spiritual lineage, to decolonize not just our rituals, but our relationship to power. So what does this actually look like in practice? You don't need a fancy altar. You don't need a perfectly cleansed space. You don't even need a deep understanding of ritual. You just need reverence and intention. Pick one person, someone who changed you, someone you look to. Maybe it's Malcolm, maybe it's Nina, maybe it's your grandmother. Print their photo, light a candle, speak their name out loud, and ask for guidance. Offer something they loved, and then, most importantly, follow through. Live in alignment with the energy you've just invited in. Veneration isn't about idolization, but co-creation. It's about remembrance. It's about presence. When you study their life, speak their name, and carry out their work, you are making them God again. You are saying, I see you and I will not let the world forget. So let me leave you with this. The gods we need aren't far away. They've walked this earth. They've spoken our language. They've lived our fears. They've died our deaths. And now they're asking us to pick up where they left off. The work of my ancestors is carried on through me. Say that with me. The work of my ancestors is carried on through me. This is your invitation to remember, reclaim, and resurrect. May the gods of your blood rise again through you.